And then one day he just calls me into his office and he looks all serious. He's like, I know what you've been doing. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I installed this monitoring software and I'm watching everybody's traffic. And I saw that you uploaded a whole stack of like confidential code technology that I own. And I'm like, dude, no, like that didn't happen. I come in here every day, I sit here and I do my fucking job. So welcome back to the career story. We're covering every job I had on my career as a technologist. I'm currently a director of development. I've been in the industry for 22 years as a professional developer. We'll paint a picture, catch you up to speed again. I was renting a shitty little duplex, Eugene, Oregon, 2008. And all along, my first job out of college, that we covered in the last part, it only lasted maybe 7 months or something, and we basically got crushed by Amazon at Amazon's game, and everybody was out of a job. It was hard to get that job, and when it was time to look for another job, I was already feeling very unhopeful. Just in Eugene, Oregon, it's not like a thriving tech scene in 2007, 2008. From the time I was leading up to graduating college to the first year out of college and working and looking for jobs, I'd been thinking the whole time, man, it's not going to happen in my hometown in Eugene. I'm going to have to move. It's going to be really hard and stressful. I'm going to have to move to a bigger city, and it's probably going to be Portland because that's the closest by big city. But I may have to go to the Bay Area or something. I was totally unsure of what was going to come. Trying to find any way to make it work still in Eugene there. And there's just no tech industry, so I was wondering how I was going to make it work. Instantly, when I lost the job to Amazon, just right back on the trail, applying, trying to get anything I could in tech, relevant developer job. This time I had my first programming actual job experience to show on a resume, that I had actually delivered something real that a lot of big companies were using in production. So I was just fully banking on that. So I applied at, there's like 2 big software companies in Eugene at the time, at least. There was like a game company. I'm trying to remember the famous game. There's a pretty well-known game, Terra. It's like some kind of mech warrior game where you're in mech warriors and some online battle game. It's called Terra something, I think, Terra Nova, or I don't know. I can't remember what that game's called, but the game company that made that is out of Eugene, Oregon. And then there's another software company that I also can't remember that was pretty big, but I was like underqualified for both of those. They would never give me a chance. I applied at both of them, just got ghosted. But so then I was like, well, what other tech leads exist here in town? And so there was about 3 to 4 little web agencies, and by agencies I mean really just small shops. I also don't remember all of their names, but I mean there's maybe 5 like little web development shops. And so one of the more well-known ones of Eugene, Oregon, I applied to, and sure enough interviewed and got a job there. And I was able to keep my duplex, not lose my housing. Not too many months went by and I started the job. I talked about in the last part how I just had no mentorship or guidance or experience with like mindset, and like how is a startup different from a software company, and how is a software company different from a web dev shop, and all of these things I just learned by being thrown into the deep end, trial by fire. My whole frame of reference was just like, I like programming, I enjoy programming, I got a degree in computer science, so I just need any job anywhere where they need programmers. That's the way I was thinking. Whether that's a web dev agency, a software company, a game company, I just need to do coding. That's my job. So I ended up in this web dev shop, and the setup was, and this is in retrospect of today now looking back on it, it was really just a business bro, like some bro that got some basic kind of bro who got like a business degree. His timing was good. In the early 2000s, he knew like, okay, programming's hot. I'm not even gonna try to go into any other job. I'm gonna try to go independent and like take out loans. I'm gonna start a web dev shop because the web is hot. So he had the right timing down, and he opened this web dev shop. As a basic business bro, he was trying to just like do everything, like what's the cheapest possible way to do everything, who's the cheapest possible talent that's not even qualified that I can hire, what are the scummiest clients I can work with that just turn a quick buck. Like that was the whole mindset of the shop. And I never like considered any of that or like knew that. Like this is my first time in a web dev shop and really in the business world. So he had 2 kids working there. One guy's about my same age, who I actually knew. I was in the skateboarding scene, and this kid I had seen out before he was in the rollerblading scene. And I didn't know that he did web development or anything. I just came in one day. I'm like, oh, Adam, what's up, man? Like I recognized him from the skate park. I knew who it was, but I didn't even know he was a developer or anything. So it was like him, and then a guy a couple years younger than us who was like totally junior. Like his experience was basically editing HTML and CSS on like a MySpace page. That was like his development experience. So it was like those 2 guys, and then added me into the mix. And I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, I've been developing websites since like the 90s, but I just, like I keep saying in this series, I just did things my own way. I never had guidance or mentorship telling me like, hey, that's a really shitty way to code. This is the right way to do it. And there was not all the resources you have today. If you go on AI or Google and you just type free courses for web development, like you'll instantly get 100 resources to teach yourself web dev the right way. And there's so many more modern tools to do it right. But back then it didn't exist. You just had to either get in the right situation where you had a mentor teaching you, or you had to be really smart to teach yourself everything. That was the situation. So my stress level coming into it is already like all the way high. I've been without a job for a little while. I was like on the verge of losing my duplex apartment. I was just very stressed in life. That $400 a month student loan payment is still due every single month. And so I started day 1 of this job with my bank account on zero. And my last position was a really stressful dev job. So I came into it on day 1 like fully at the maximum stress, and then I'm coming into this environment of this basic business bro who's just, like I said, he's trying to run a sweatshop, which I didn't realize that's what it was up front. I know now in retrospect that there's a lot of people like that out there, and I can recognize now that that's what he was doing. So the timelines were never long enough to build the websites that were needed. The budget was never enough. You'd be like thrown into like high responsibility, like client phone calls, or like hands-on, like a customer would come to the shop and he would just like hand it over to you to like extract all the right information. Like he was trying to do as little as possible and extract the most out of us, while he was just in there in his office like playing games or whatever. Like I don't even know what he did. I'm sure he pursued leads. I think that was all he did. He worked on advertising his business, running ads everywhere for the web shop, and following leads, cold calling probably. And then he just tried to get something out of nothing from us. And so right away I got put on these projects where what they're asking for was like honestly beyond my ability. If you were doing what was asked for in a proper shop, you would need, I don't know, 5 times the budget, 5 times the timeline. And then he would ride everybody's ass every day, like about meeting the deadlines and come on, let's crank it out, let's crank it out. We'll just call him Joe. I won't use real names. I'll protect the innocent. Joe. So yeah, he would ride everybody's ass every day. And then he wanted me to be the mentor for the really junior level guy. Try to keep that guy busy and tell him what to do. But I had I barely had started my career as a developer. I barely knew what I was doing of putting custom software together. And now I had like a junior working under me and trying to kind of teach him along the way. And then that would just be a disaster. Like that guy's code was no good. And I'd spend twice as much time like trying to teach him and then cleaning up what he did and then feeling pressure. Like I had to deliver what was assigned to me. on the internet today, I think there are still 1 or 2 websites that I built from this time in 2008 at that shop that are still in use today. An example of a project I made is it's called like Delta Windshields, and it was the exact same as what's that company that replaces Safelite? Safelite. Yeah, it was a company exactly like Safelite, where they're like a windshield crack repair and replacement company, and they have like 1,000 franchisees across the whole country or more, and this company. And so I built this database that was like a interactive map of the USA, and the database would list every franchisee and hooked into the website, and allowed you to interactively like click through and find a place to repair your windshield with this company. I think that a version of that is like still in use to this day. Last time I checked, I think I looked it up like a couple of years ago. And then another one was like this guy who specialized in parrot pet food. So he like made a small business owner who just made a custom formulation of specific for like pet birds, parrots and stuff. And he like thought this guy would come into the office, and he thought he was the hot shit and knew everything the best for parrot nutrition, and was like really passionate about it, and like, no, it has to be this way. No, on the page it has to be like this. He'd be like sitting side by side. The customer would be side by side while I'm like programming on the computer. I'm trying to take notes of what he wants, and would always end up getting pressured into situations of where he's like trying to like guide the development. Like, it's got to be like this. We need it like this. I need this drop down. And like, you shouldn't get to that. You shouldn't be in a situation like that in a legitimate shop. But I'd be pressured into that, and not knowing enough about how business works to know that it shouldn't be like that. Like, one example of another thing like Scumbag Joe did was he moved offices. He probably found a bigger office for cheaper on kind of the edge of town. And he would like take us, it was really unprofessional looking back on it. Like, he would like throw us in the car. He had like his car with a full vinyl wrap of the web dev shop branding. And he would like throw his 2 developers. Like, I think he's really the type of guy who just like has no friends, and his whole life is business. And so he was always trying to like get in like bro situations with us, like trying to pretend that he had friends. So he'd like load us in the car, and he'd be like, I'm like, oh, we got to look at this office, guys, see what you think. Like, I'm excited to move to this office. So like a couple times we'd like go drive across town to look at some office space and walk around in it. And we're just like, yeah, we'd rather be building the app right now. I guess this office is fine. Whatever you think, we don't really care. You're just taking time away from us building the site right now, would be like what we would say. And then when he actually got a new office, instead of like hiring movers and like getting the office moved over on a weekend so that there'd be no downtime for the developers, instead of that, it was like, we show up to work, he's like, okay, you guys are going to be moving desks today. You guys are going to be packing trucks today. So we would like show up to work to do web development, and then be like physical laborers moving like 500-pound massive desks, and packing up all the computers and unloading them at the new place. And we were kind of just being walked over, me and the other guy, and we were delivering. We were doing everything that was asked, and we were stressing about delivering things on time in the time that was asked, and we were trying our hardest to code things. And yeah, there's no AI. I don't think, maybe barely, there's even Stack Overflow at this time. I don't know when Stack Overflow came out, but it was hard. And so I must have made maybe 10 sites or something over the course of this job. And I think I was there for around a year, maybe coming up on a year, 10 months or something. And then the salary was a step back. The last job I had was a startup, and the salary was $45K. And again, the intro rate for my town and this time and for my role should have been like $60K, should have been the intro rate. And my first job was $45K. And then this job was like a downgrade from that. It was like $36K or $40K, something like that, $42K maybe $40K, I don't know for sure. And once again, it was the same thing. It was like I was working a job, but I had $0 at the end of every pay period. Just right back to square one after every pay period, having $0, just enough to pay all the bills, pay the student loans, and be able to eat. And there's zero left. Like, I didn't even have a car at this time. I could only afford a ratty bike that I built myself. And so I just rode a bike everywhere, my bike commuted into work. And then I'd be showing up to work in the winter, like soaking wet in the rain in Eugene. just throw a hoodie on and then be soaking wet in the rain and like sit there in wet clothes in the winter. Like that's how I used to do it. And just, yeah, the money situation sucked. And so the whole time, my first job and the second job, the whole time my despair is just increasing. All the times I'm thinking more and more like, I'm thinking like, this is not what I had in mind from graduating and the computer science degree and what I thought I was in for, starting my first jobs. This is not it, and I don't think Eugene is going to cut it. I'm going to have to move to a bigger city. I had that thought the whole time, and then what happened was the 2008 financial collapse. The 2008 market collapse. What happened was that was kicking in, and it was like right at the very beginning of that. This bro, so Joe, the business owner, he had installed software so that he could be behind closed doors in his office, and it was like employee monitoring software, and he didn't tell us he was doing this, and it like monitored everything that we did, like all of our web communication, and again, he didn't say he was doing it. He didn't tell us like, okay, I'm going to be watching for this, so guys, don't do anything sketchy. And I thought we all had a good relationship. I thought there was no need. I thought there was no trust issues or any reason to doubt us. I thought we had a good relationship. And then just one day, I'm working hard every day. I'm doing the right thing every day. I'm grinding. I'm building these web apps. I'm building these websites. I'm making long-term timelines, plans for building this shit. I'm just doing my best for the better part of a year, working for this guy. And then one day he just calls me into his office, and he looks all serious. And he's like, I know what you've been doing. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I installed this monitoring software, and I'm watching everybody's traffic. And I saw that you uploaded a whole stack of like confidential like code technology that I own, and you uploaded it to your personal home network, and I saw that, and I'm like, dude, no, like that didn't happen. I come in here every day, I sit here and I do my fucking job, and there's no cubicles. Like you can see my screen every day. I'm not hiding anything. We have updates all the time about what I'm doing. Like nothing is going on other than doing the work. And so he was 100% completely wrong about that. Whatever he thought he saw, I have no idea what he thought he saw, because I was doing a good job. I was working hard all the time. I never did the slightest sketchy thing. Yeah, just this guy's personality. He's honestly just a dumbass. He's just a dumbass. Like the kind of guy who thinks that there's always some shortcut in life, like always some cheaper way, or like always some trick you can pull, just like a business scheming kind of guy. And so I think maybe he had suspicions that programming shouldn't take as long as it actually does, and maybe that's why he installed this software, and he was trying to like be like, aha, caught you, like I'm smarter than you guys, I tricked you, I caught you that you're not really on task. But everyone was on task there. So I got fired for no reason at all, and I was pissed about that. And then this was going straight into it was the very start of the 2008 financial collapse, and I fucking lost my housing. Like there was already like hardly any tech jobs, and then when the financial collapse hit, if you lived through that time, you couldn't get a job in anything. But tech was hit especially hard, but all industries were hit. There was just like no more jobs. And it would be on the news every day. They're just like, damn, there's no more jobs. This is really bad. What are we going to do? Unemployment is going like crazy high. That was just like the talking point on the news at that time. And I was just like, God, great fucking timing. Like right when I lose my job, and of all the timing that it could be, that right when this happens. And I lost my apartment over it. I lost my housing. I was like, okay, that's it. I got rid of everything I owned. I cleared out the duplex. I had to tell the landlords that I fucking loved the place and I loved living there. I loved having my girlfriend there. I liked everything about where I was, but I told them just the reality. I'm like, I'm really sorry to do this to you. I just literally got fired for no reason, and there's no jobs right now, and I have zero savings, and I have to move out, and I'm as bummed about it as you guys. And they were really bummed because they were trying to build a community in this duplex. They were trying to be really selective about the people that rented there. They were trying to build like a sustainable minded, like hippie kind of commune kind of scene. We used to have like potlucks like every Sunday night in the communal garden. And so it wasn't just some anonymous apartment. It was like they were trying to build a community, and I liked, to what extent that I liked being a part of that. And I was really bummed to have lost it. And so just it was now like a year and a half since I had been out of school, maybe something like that. And I just still couldn't get my feet under me at all. I never once got stable footing. And every time it seemed like I was on the path to getting some kind of stable footing, then yeah, something like this would happen, the financial collapse, and get fired for no reason or something, and lose your housing, and it's like 2 steps forward and like 3 steps back, and like 2 steps forward and like 3 steps back. So I sold every single thing I owned. I got down to just like whatever belongings fit in like a little car, and put some stuff into storage at my parents' house. And I was like, I guess that's it. Like, I got to move to the bigger city. I don't know where I'm going to stay. I don't know how I'm going to rent anywhere there. I have zero savings, and the student loan is on my back, and it's still due every single month. I don't even know how I'm going to get a start there in Portland. I just have to go for it, and my parents can't bail me out, and I don't have any friends couches to crash on in Eugene, and I was just like up against a dead end, like out of options. So yeah, I didn't even have a car. I borrowed my mom's car, or she gave me a ride in the van. I packed up all my shit. I had a friend from the Eugene that was the same roommate I had my first apartment with, and he was already living in an old house on Alberta Street in Portland with like 5 other roommates, and there was no room for me, but we were like number one bros. And I just talked him into like letting me stay in basically like a foyer, like a hallway almost. I made like a dead end of a hallway, like my bedroom. I just like slept on the floor, had all my shit just piled on the floor. And I moved up to Portland, and it basically like destroyed my relationship, which was like the biggest bummer of all. Was like I really was like in love with my girlfriend and loved that whole situation, but between like anxiety problems I developed with money, and then having to be located in a different town, and she was like so bummed that I left, and she had like a year or 2 of school to finish still, so she couldn't come with me. I'll blame my anxiety problems. I just developed such stress disorder problems, and it led to like ruining that relationship, and that was like the biggest bummer of the whole thing. I had to just start completely over from fucking nothing. I had a bike and a backpack and a laptop and a pile of clothes, and it was like, I don't know, early 2009, and I was in Portland, Oregon, and that's where we're going to pick it up with the next episode. This is where I became Sean from Portland. This is the actual story. You heard it here, folks. This is the actual story of how that unfolded. How did I become Sean from Portland? And it basically started in this next part that we'll cover. And a little sneak preview, I got into the advertising industry, was kind of where I ended up, and all the twists and turns that took. So that'll be the next part 5. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. See ya.